Open Your Eyes is brought to you by Smart, bringing people together, and the Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
Welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I'm April Martinez.
And I am Asana Kayatano.
And good morning, Belize. Thank you so much for joining us on this wonderful, hot, but wonderful Monday morning. Good morning, Asane. How are you?
Good morning, April. Every time I see you on set, I always have to say I haven't seen you in a while.
Because
it always feels that way.
Yeah, you know, the other parts of the day job take certain precedence. I'm not out of country or anything like that, but there are certain things that I do have to do on a weekly, sometimes on a daily basis, that takes me away from my OIE home, but I'm always happy to come back, fresh and ready to go. Thank you. But you know, this weekend a lot of things have been happening. Past week actually a lot of things have been taking place, but I think let's start out there and then come back home.
Sure.
Yeah, so we've been talking a lot about the new innovative ways of tourism in other destinations here in Belize, of course, as well. But what we're seeing now is this new way of touring certain places, and I believe that we were starting with Mexico. So Mexico, I think in Tulum, where they have started a new way of traveling through certain sites. Now, I'm not privy to all of the information, but when I first saw the vehicle, I thought it looked from something like Jurassic Park, the new Jurassic Park. Just
a blast from the past.
Yes, well, not just a blast from the past. There's a new way of the future. I don't know if you saw the new Jurassic Park movie, but they were like in this vehicle cruising through the park, looking at the dinosaurs, but very much in like this encased bubble-like motor vehicle, so that they don't get hurt. See, even something like that, it looks so unreal.
So what does this do? Is there any special feature that I mean, the design looks otherworldly, right? So when you get in this vehicle, what does it do?
It's supposed to be like a motor vehicle to tour through a particular park. And you know, you don't want to always be walking around and it's hot and everything.
So forgive my ignorance to the issue at hand, but what's different from a golf cart?
This looks cooler, Isaac.
Or a safari venture.
You know, I'm pretty sure it has its quirks. There's a coffee cup. The seats look to be very, very comfy, cushiony.
Like something.
Yes, I think that's what they were trying to do. I think they were trying to portray this new futuristic, otherworldly design, traversing through a jungle that is very ancient. Kind of like bringing these two time periods, together. I thought that was really, really cool. But we, you know, the things like the Maya train that are taking place, these types of vehicles that are going through these jungles and so on. Mexico seems to be on a trend of trying to find new ways to get people to come to their country. Yeah,
which I think, if we're talking tourism, by and large, the stakeholders in the industry, right? You have the creatives, you have the planners, you have the tour operators. When they come together, I would want to think the idea is to collectively brainstorm innovative ways of attracting visitors to our country. So while Mexico is doing this as their initiative, then we should also be doing the same, looking at ways in which we could, you know, bring more people to Belize.
I 100% agree with you, and I think that Belize has been doing quite a lot for the past couple of years. I think that we have officially embodied sustainable tourism in a sort of way. I think we've always had it, cultural tourism. We've always had it, but there was never really a name to it until like during COVID.
Yeah.
So now we have these different ways that other countries are competing, because Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, Salvador, Costa Rica, Panama, we kind of have the same climate. We kind of have the same landscape in a sort of way, certain historical nuances. We have these things in common. So how does Belize set apart from the rest? And I think that for us, it's always been sustainable tourism and cultural tourism. We're so diverse that when people come, they expect it to be like the rest of Central America, and then they're extremely surprised when they come here, which I love.
When you look at, and this is perhaps from a historical perspective, right? You have the Aztecs up north. You have the Maya on this side. Then you have the Incas further down,
south,
right? And when you look at it as sort of like a corridor, you look at what the products can be like, right? In terms of the marketing of these destinations and such. So if you're in certain parts of Mexico, you would have, for instance, the Aztec experience, right? And then you get on the Tren Maya. You have to roll my R, that's all right. The Maya train takes you to this part, and then I guess if you decide to venture further south, the Incas of Peru, and then you get the whole prehistoric and the historic element of
that would
why we are where we are.
That would be a very interesting and unique tour, world tour experience. And I know that many people have done kind of like a road trip, if you will, from the United States, you know, down into Central America and then down into South. One of the reasons why I wasn't here this week was because I was holding a conference, but I was hosting a traveling conference, if you will. And a lot of these folks were from different parts of the world: New Zealand, Australia, Canada, the United States, and then various parts of the Caribbean islands. And one of the things that my organizers and myself realized is that we don't have something that's called research tourism. And that's and the reason how
do we sexify research tourism?
So this is what we were trying to do, because the theme of the conference was indigenous lifeways in the Caribbean. So it was definitely more preempted for Caribbean brethren coming to Belize. Of course, we're part of the CARICOM nation. And one of the things that I always realize, and I think we take for granted in Belize, is that we're much bigger than we think. And
some of the smaller islands.
And then we're connected to this big landmass of Central America. So for them, they've never seen a border that connects to another country, right? Everything is water. So
we have terrestrial.
We have terrestrial planes. We have coastal planes. All of these things. So when they came, we did a tour per se of different indigenous spaces. So you're going from Belize City to Belmopan to Hopkins. We took him to Dangriga, Maya Center. We went all the way to PG. You know, and these are different pockets of indigenous spaces that tourism is different. You have different forms of research questions and concepts that you can gather, and all of that was just. We done that in 3 days, which was weird for me. And then, of course, we topped it off by going to a Maya site. And all of these different spaces for them was just eye-opening, because Belize is so diverse.
And that's what makes our country the wealthy country it is in terms of our cultural diversity, right? You could go from a Mennonite community to a Mestizo community to an East Indian to a Garifuna, Creole. You find it here, all here in Belize.
We find all at the PG.
Well, there we go.
One place. they even witnessed the way we transport Mennonite houses on the truck, on the highway, and everybody was trying to figure out why traffic was slowing down. It's because of this. So all of these small things that we take for granted, I think, are what makes us so special and unique to other countries. So I know we started off by talking about Mexico, but of course we have to big up Belize every single time. Certainly. And then, of course, moving on to our second topic is a little bit hard topic, a very sad topic, but one of our wildlife conservators by the name of Chris Summers was working mostly with the alligator and crocodile wildlife conservation in San Pedro, has passed away now. We got this news, I believe, yesterday morning, yesterday afternoon. They haven't divulged how he has passed away. The family is asking for time to grieve and privacy, and we of course send our condolences. Chris Summers from ACES Wildlife Rescue has been on the show a couple of times, kind of just talking about why these animals are so important to the ecosystem here in Belize, you know, giving us that crash course on saltwater crocodile versus freshwater crocodiles, and just talking about why it's important to safeguard them.
I think when I think or remember Chris and the work that he has done with crocodile rescue in Belize, he was one of them who first and foremost would tell you, in Belize we only have 2 species of crocodiles, right? You have the American crocodile and the Morlet's crocodile. And well, there goes Chris.
Yes.
And so he's always around these animals. And whenever we talk about, you know, a problem croc in an area, he would be the person who responds, right? I recall having done several stories where crocodiles have been captured here on mainland Belize, and we would go to the area behind Quality Poultry on North Front Street, and then he would come from San Pedro by boat, place the problem croc on there, and away they go. But that's the kind of work that he was involved in,
yes,
right?
and
he took his job seriously.
He did take his job seriously. I remember I had asked him a question about how do you go in with this bravery of taking on these creatures, and what he said to me was that they are not creatures to fear, really, and he, just like any other animal in the wild, it won't hurt you unless you pose a threat. And of course, because of the way they look and their size and everything, people automatically start to
Forgive me,
fear.
April. I've watched one too many National Geographic documentaries on Nile crocodiles, or any crocodile, any reptile for that matter, enough to stay far away from. It just as afraid for me as I afraid for you.
I can't disagree with you. I can't. But you know, Chris, you will of course be very much missed. He's technically our very own crocodile hunter here,
our resident expert.
And we wish our family deepest sympathies during this time. We hope that we of course gather more information on this story.
And of course, our sympathies extend to the American Crocodile Education Sanctuary, ACES, right?
That was his other family as well.
Yes. What else do we have buzzing?
There's so many things.
There's so many things we could talk about, April. I mean, when we look at what's taking place in Haiti, and this is an ongoing conversation, where if we've been following what has been taking place in Kenya, for instance, where the government has finally given the green light for the Kenyan police to travel to Haiti as part of this effort at regaining some kind of stability in this crisis-torn country. Recently, that green light was given, but then there was a mission that was led by the Kenyans to Haiti, and they returned back to their homeland. But I look at it and I appreciate it from more of a local point of view, where we've been discussing Belize's role in this initiative, in this effort. And the fact that our BDF soldiers have been trained.
Already, yes.
Yes, they underwent some training to be able to deploy to Haiti and lend a hand. I use that term loosely, in terms of trying to, you know, regain some sense of normalcy there. But on the other hand, whenever we look at regional news or international news where coverage of Haiti is concerned, you also get reports of the gangs in Haiti shoring up their support and mounting a sort of a defensive against any initiative to try to bring calm to that country.
Every time I think about Haiti, it kind of saddens me in a way, because Haiti has been through turmoil since colonization.
Yeah.
And it just seems that they can't catch a break in any sense of the word. And one of the disheartening things about Haiti that kind of makes me feel like, as a Caribbean nation, we have to come together, is that Haiti was the first country in this entire region to basically turn against their slave masters and rebel and create this Haitian revolution for freedom. And they did that. They were the first country to liberate themselves.
And while that goes down as part of world history, in the context of slavery, Haiti has been plagued by every imaginable crisis you can think
political
about.
upheaval,
economic, natural disasters, you name it.
And that's why I said it just breaks my heart, because they have the ability, the resilience of the people has never been broken. And now here we see yet again another upheaval in Haiti, where the country is completely unstable. And
could you imagine, April, when you think of Haiti, the history of Haiti, we talk about Toussaint Louverture, and then now on the other hand, we're talking about Jimmy Cherizier barbecue in the same context of this country that is right out there as part of our Caribbean brothers and sisters.
And the sad reality is that they have been economically unstable since that time period to now. They had to, I don't know if I mean, I'm going to spew a little bit here, but because of that revolution, because they rebelled, the country of France basically had them by their guts, really, with economic instability.
There's a more appropriate word we can use.
Yeah, but I am on TV and I am trying to be nice here. But they just basically paid back France for their freedom, in a sense of a word, in like 2013, 2015. They had to pay them to be free. And it's just one of those things where, is that really truly freedom? Is that truly independence? And because of that economic instability, because of those foundations that were put in place, they could never sustain themselves properly. Those were millions of dollars being paid back.
Here's the thing, April. As Belizeans, and perhaps as other citizens elsewhere would look at the situation and say, okay, there is an influx of Haitian immigrants into our country, right? And some of us are disturbed by the fact that, you know, we have so many immigrants here
coming in,
but we don't take the time to understand the history and to understand why they're leaving en masse from their homeland, right? When I look at Nigerians in Belize, if I look at Haitians in Belize, if I look at other people who, for whatever reason, have chosen our country to be a part of our society, and I go back and look at the historical aspects of it, I could understand. When you look at Haiti, there has always been issues with governments. They have coup d'etat on top of coup d'etat, they overthrow everybody. Do you look at it from a socio-economic point of view, where there's abject poverty, right? And so these people are simply trying to find a better life for themselves and their families.
My grandma will always say that nobody chooses to be a refugee. Nobody chooses to want to leave the home that they've known. But in order for them to survive and in order for their generations to continue, they have to. And that is the point, that Belize has been a safe haven. Belize has been so many things, but Belize has been a safe haven for these people. And I think what we as Belizeans kind of need to understand is that there's a reason for that. There's not just that our government opens up our borders. It's a lot harder to get naturalized in Belize than many people think. But it's also this hospitality of Belizeans. It's the layout of the land. It's the fact that we're able to sustain, because we have such a small population. So it becomes a lot more complex than I think we're able to understand and even try to talk about. But in terms of Haiti, and in terms of why we're talking about this, like you said, our BDF soldiers were in training to go to Haiti to assist, and now that the Kenyan president has recalled their troops. We're trying to now figure out what's going to happen to us now. Now that we've had this training, where do we stand as BDF? So we'll take a closer look at that.
There you have it.
All right, well, those are just some of the topics, and thank you, Isan. You bring me down a rabbit hole, which I absolutely love. It's hard to get me out of it, but I always appreciate it. And as we do here every Monday, we give you what's buzzing, but we also give you the eye on the news.
So, for the better part of the past 2 weeks, we've been discussing the issue of wildfires across the country. And on Friday, we announced the formation of a task force that has been established to deal with the issue of wildfires as they occur across the country. All right? We ran an item that we led our newscast with on Friday in respect of the fires in Mountain Pine Ridge.
Yes.
And the effort of various agencies coming together to address the situation, right? Over the weekend, as far as I've been made aware, fires are also consuming farmlands in the area of San Miguel. This is another part of the Toledo district. We've been covering what's been taking place in San Pedro, Colombia and its environs. Now we're looking at what's taking place in San Miguel. Now these are images that were shared with me from last night.
Wow.
Right, where I'm made to understand that farmers were up for the better part of the night fighting these fires and trying to prevent the spread of the wildfire into their communities proper.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a situation where the National Emergency Management Organization, which is the lead in this particular task force, has been on the ground in the south. I presume that now that we have this group that's working together, they will also be responding to Pine Ridge.
Yes.
Or any other part of the country that is experiencing these fires. Now, this April is predicated, if you ask me, on the extreme dry and heat that we've been experiencing.
Yes.
Right? Some people would say, look, around May we get our first showers and, you know, things kind of ease up in terms of the excess heat that we've been experiencing, but we're at the end of May and
it doesn't look like it's letting up. But you know, and you're absolutely right, this is the time. And because we know that this is the time of the year that we discuss this, we have these wildfires, it still shows us that we still have a lot of work to do when it comes to getting resources for these places. And when you're talking about Mountain Pine Ridge, which is one of our largest reserves in the country, while there might not be many persons that are living in and around the area like San Pedro, Colombia in the south, we still have some of our hotels and some of our tourism places back there where they come to see this green lush, you know, they come to see this type of environment, and so for it to be completely engulfed in flames is scary. I believe when we're coming up the Hummingbird Highway, you see some of the forest fires within the mountains, and it looks like a Christmas tree being lit almost with all of the fires that are just, you know, in and around.
I like your description of that imagery.
That's what it looks like when you're driving up and you're seeing all of these different sides of the green that just have these flames, and of course they start to spread. And when we're thinking about how to fight forest fires, of course it's very different from an electrical fire here in the city, where you have your fire truck, you have your fire station, you have water. You know, they used to tell me you patch dirt. You throw dirt on it to ensure you create a trench, the dirt, so that the fire initially goes in and then it kind of just subdues on its own. It
dies off gradually.
Yes, and I think that we have to start to prepare from as early as February, March. We have to start to prepare for these fires. And with climate change, it is initially getting worse.
There are lots of lessons we can take away from what's been happening with these wildfires. I'm hoping that in terms of government's response to it, that it's more than just organizing and sending firefighters and BDF and all of these other agencies to go and deal with it. But it is also looked at as a humanitarian issue as well, because these people will need some form of relief in terms of the suffering that they've had with their farmlands and in some cases their homes.
Right? And even the global organization during this time of the year has their hands full, because it's not just Belize that's going through this problem, you know, all throughout South, Central and North America and Mexico, they're facing these fires.
So we'll move away from talking wildfires and go back to another item that was in our newscast on Friday that's of, you know, equal significance. And that had to do with a press release that was issued, or a statement I should say, that was issued by the Atlantic Bank, where it had mentioned that the $62 million debt that Stake Bank Enterprises Limited had with the bank has essentially been covered and done away with, and Atlantic Bank is no longer doing business banking with Stake Bank. Why is this news, or why are we discussing it? It's simply because this was a messy affair from the moment that Stake Bank went into receivership. There were lawsuits tossed around, there were claims the central bank was written to investigate certain practices that Atlantic Bank allegedly was involved in, all sorts of things. And the effect of it is that this island, as we're seeing it, remains partly developed, and the actual project that should have been completed and should have been a tourism destination in and of itself is
not happening.
Incomplete.
Yes.
And so the idea of the receivership was for them to be able to raise another $50 million to actually complete the project.
Yeah.
What's interesting here is that the brothers, the Bueso brothers, the siblings, Guillermo and David, were the ones who essentially covered the debt, the $62 million debt.
Yeah.
But there are more questions for me than answers at this point.
Okay.
Right? So if there were questions about the receivership, what becomes of it now?
Yeah. Yeah.
If there were questions about the use of the concessions, if there were questions about the receiver trying to locate certain assets, and there was this back and forth between the receiver and businessman Michael Feinstein over these assets and what have you.
Yeah.
What happens now?
I think my question is more surround on a customer level, because when we think about banks buying out other banks, for example, like when Scotiabank went strictly to Belize Bank, what kind of operational changes will take place, if any, would take place, and how does that affect loans? How does that affect the customers?
Well, in this case, the Atlantic Bank has given its assurance to customers that everything is just okay, and there's no need to worry about what's going to happen next in terms of stability and so on and so forth. Right? So that should be, if you're a customer of Atlantic Bank, that should be some kind of a reassurance that everything is all well and what have you.
All right.
But yeah, so we got to move on. There's a lot that we could discuss in terms of what's taking place in the news, but I'll leave that there for the moment.
Okay.
Certainly you can catch these stories, the details of which will be aired in full in our 6 p.m. newscast, live on 5, and of course if you can't sit in front of your TV, no problem. You can always catch us on Facebook or YouTube. That does it for this morning's Eye on the News.
Moving on into our weather update for this morning, Isani. It's hot. We know it's hot. But if anything is changing, we do have an update from the folks at the Meteorological Service of Belize.
Good morning. Warm and dry weather will continue over Belize and the coastal waters for the next few days. The 24-hour forecast is for mostly sunny, warm, and somewhat hazy conditions today, but hot inland this afternoon, and partly cloudy skies tonight. Little or no rain is expected. Maximum temperatures today will be around 90 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 101 inland, but only 84 degrees up in the mountains. A heat alert for inland areas will likely go into effect by midday. Winds over the open sea will be from the east to southeast at 10 to 20 knots, and the seas will be choppy to moderate. The outlook for Tuesday and Tuesday night is for similar weather conditions. There was a low tide at 5:43 this morning, and the high comes up at 11:56 also this morning. Another low is at 7:46 this evening, and another high at 2:13 tomorrow morning. The sun rose at 5:17 this morning and will set at 6:22 this evening. The moon goes down at 8:53 this morning and comes up again at 10:32 tonight. In the fire risk forecast, the risk for forest and brush fires continues high today. With that, we end this report from the Belize Weather Bureau.
It's going to be hot again. Just brace ourselves. But we got to move on with our show lineup for this morning. We have 3 wonderful segments for you, starting off with our conversation with Dr. Beer from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. She's going to be talking to us about the transmission of HIV from mother to child.
Our second conversation, also along health and wellness.
Yes.
In this case, mental health. We'll be talking to Dr. Martinez about borderline personality disorder. You want to stay around for that conversation?
Yes, I am excited for that conversation. And we are wrapping things up. We'll be talking to the team from Patlight, and they're in studio to talk to us about the upcoming Teachers Conference. You don't want to miss that conversation as well. We got to take our first break, and when we come back, we'll be talking to Dr. Bear about HIV from mother to child. Don't go away.
I'm David Humes. This is Vanessa Humes. We own Ladyville Cool Spot. Belize Bank save us a lot of time. Working with them, we can keep track exactly what we spend. We recommend Belize Bank 100% because we don't have to go to stand up in line, and we can check on our account right from our house. Working with Belize Bank is the best.
With the steady increase in prices, it's hard to hold on to your hard-earned cash. Well, here at Benny's, prices are steadily falling, making it easier to stretch your dollars. Prices are slashed on roofing, plysim, nails, rebar, paints, lumber, and other products for your construction needs. And with fantastic discounts going on right now, get store-wide deals on select products from now through September 30th. Visit a Benny's store near you today, where the prices just keep on falling. Benny's, quality and savings.
What if I told you that your singing talent can earn you $10,000? And what if I told you that you can stop singing in the shower and sing live on one of the biggest stages in Belize?
Let's go! I'm gonna love you forever.
Still not sold? Well, what if I told you with all that's offered, you can attract fans and supporters from all over the country? So, are you ready to be part of the most exciting singing competition in Belize? It's time for KTV The Remix, Season 6. Auditions will take place on Saturday, June 1st and Sunday, June 2nd. So mark your calendars and come show us how good you are. This is your chance to make it big and win big. KTV The Remix, Season 6. It's hot, it's live, and it's only on 5.
2,251,000 slices of watermelon are eaten by tourists each year in Belize, benefiting local farmers and processors directly. Tourism means business.
We all have dreams that we are chasing, goals we're striving for, and loved ones we want to provide for. There is one thing that can provide you with a sense of security and empowerment. That is planning for the future and starting to save. Just as a tree starts as a seed and grows with time, your savings will grow. It's never too early or too late to take that crucial step towards securing your future. Saving is not just about putting money aside, it's a promise to yourself and your loved ones that you are taking control of your destiny. It all begins with a plan and the commitment to save, no matter how big or how small. Educate yourself about different savings options to help you achieve your plans. Remember, no matter where you are on your journey, the key is to start. Every step you take towards planning and saving is a step towards empowerment and peace of mind. Talk to your loved ones about your goals and dreams. Create a roadmap for a brighter future. That tree you planted now provides shade and shelter for your dreams. Embrace the power of planning for your future and starting to save. Your dreams are waiting, and your journey to a brighter tomorrow begins today. Plan today, save for tomorrow.
A message from the Central Bank of Belize. For more information, visit our website at centralbank.org.bz.
Almost here, and we're gearing up for the exciting time of the year where kids from all over the country come together and showcase their talent on one stage. The Open Your Eyes stage. Yes, that's right. Summerfest is back. Every talent is allowed to be part of this year's Summerfest. Join us on June 1st at Channel 5 to audition for this year's show. Call or WhatsApp 670-6068 and I'll see you on stage.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5 Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
Isani Cayetano, Marian Ali, Paul Lopez, Brittany Gordon. Your News 5 Belize teams do whatever it takes. Go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 Belize on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Because news is now everywhere, all the time. And so are we.
When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Channel 5 introduces the Daily Obituaries. The Daily Obituaries will broadcast all death and funeral announcements and memorials to honor your loved one's life and memories. The Daily Obituaries airs on Channel 5 prior to the evening newscast, with subsequent repeats at 10 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. It will also be placed online on our social media platforms, all for a standard package fee. Celebrate their lives and memories with Channel 5's Daily Obituaries. Honor in life and reverence in death.
And welcome back. Joining us virtually, we have Dr. Natalia Baer, and she is the Technical Advisor for Maternal and Child Health in the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Good morning, Dr. Baer.
Good morning, Ms. Martinez, and thanks for the invitation.
Good morning, Doc. So we have been having this conversation of health and wellness, our success as a country in terms of the way we have been handling the HIV matter, particularly in the aspect of transmission from mother to child. Can you walk us through the operational process that has been taking place over the better part of a year for us to have been able to successfully complete this mission as a country?
Yes, well, thanks for the opportunity. Yes, the elimination of mother-to-child transmission of HIV and syphilis, our program started in the year 2000. And we started as a technical cooperation among countries between the Bahamas and Belize. And this was sponsored by PAHO. So this allowed us to establish the program within the maternal and child health program. 10 years after, in 2010, Belize did another exchange, this time with Suriname. So we learned from the Bahamas, and then Suriname joined us to learn from our experience. So we had 2 technical cooperations among countries, supported by the Pan American Health Organization. We started off with 2 districts, and 1 year after introducing it was called PMTCT then, Prevention of Mother-to-Child Transmission of HIV and Syphilis. 1 year after starting it, it was rolled out countrywide. So it's one more of the package of services that are offered through the health system. The maternal and child health program is the one who have the greatest workload, but every healthcare worker have a responsibility to play in eliminating the vertical transmission from mother to child of HIV and syphilis. So what we do is every woman that comes for prenatal care, be it public sector, private sector, or NGO, like the Belize Family Life Association, then the counseling will include screening for HIV and syphilis, and then we will counsel the woman on the importance of, if she were to be positive, to receive the treatment, adhere to the treatment, that the science have proven that if a woman HIV positive get pregnant or get infected with HIV during pregnancy, if she have access to treatment and adhere to treatment, the transmission rate is nil. So we have had good acceptance by pregnant women to get tested, and good acceptance for receiving the treatment. We do have some cases that are kind of difficult because of the social determinants of health outside of their control and outside of our control. But we manage to provide follow-up and assist as much as we can for women to have access to treatment and adhere to treatment.
So this is...
So what we do is we do 3 screening. At first contact with the pregnant woman, then in the 3rd trimester we do next screening, and then we screen when the woman is admitted for delivery at the hospital. And we screen for both HIV and syphilis.
Okay.
So that is what we have so
Dr.
far.
Bear, can I jump in quickly? So this is a milestone achievement for Belize in terms of healthcare and in terms of being able to move as a country towards meeting this particular goal, if I could use that. What can be done going forward to maintain the elimination of HIV transmission and of course syphilis transmission mother to child? What can we do or continue to do as individuals to ensure that we remain at nil, so to speak?
Okay, thanks for the question. And yes, countries have been moving towards elimination of the transmission. And in this case, one would think elimination is 0. But in this case, the target is to reach less than 2% in the case of HIV and in the case of congenital syphilis is less than 0.5% per 1,000 live births. It has been a great gain, especially for the Caribbean countries. To date, we have 19 countries certified as eliminating the transmission from mother to child, HIV and syphilis. And out of these, 11 are from the Caribbean sub-region. So the Caribbean sub-region have 58% of those 19 countries worldwide certified eliminating the vertical transmission of HIV and syphilis. What needs to be done is to continue to strengthen the services that we're providing in all sectors. This cannot be a gain, a win from one institution. It entails having the family playing an active role, getting prenatal care early, getting screened during pregnancy and before delivering, and to access treatment. Treatment is require no out-of-pocket payment from pregnant women. I don't like to say free because somebody have to pay for it, no? But the patients don't need to spend any monies to access the treatment.
Right.
And the public health nurses and the rural health nurses, doctors and other nurses countrywide help us to follow up on these patients. So if we need to go to the home 3-4 times to provide support, we do that. So that is one of the role of the health system to ensure we do those home visits as needed. Otherwise, we would not achieve the goal. So it's a very good milestones for our countries. I guess you all are aware that we had our certification ceremony on the 7th of May. It was done in Jamaica because 3 countries were certified then, Jamaica, Belize, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So we are very proud of this achievement because it's the result of the collaboration between families, the different health sectors, and healthcare workers countrywide.
Doc, let me segue a little bit on the same topic, but just a different question here. When we're talking about continuation of the program and so forth, we had just taken out a story about the shortages of nurses and training persons in these various programs. How is the ministry handling this shortage and, of course, the continuation of this program whilst training other persons in the facility?
Well, the ministry coordinates different training for different category of nurses, and that is an ongoing process. We know that developed countries usually come into countries like ours and do interviews, and our nurses are well trained, so a lot of them get accepted to work abroad. And that's a phenomenon that is occurring worldwide. The shortage of nursing is huge. So for us, it means that the personnel that is working currently, private, public, and NGO, have to double the efforts. But within the different programs that the Ministry of Health has, let's say from the Maternal and Child Health Unit, we have number 1 is the vaccination, and number 2 is the elimination of the mother-to-child transmission of HIV and syphilis. So these are activities that we prioritize, and it is not affected because of shortage of staff. I think we have proven with the vaccination that we are increasing after the drop that we experienced with COVID-19 during the period of COVID-19. But we are going the extra mile, working on weekends. The nurses go to workplaces to get persons vaccinated with the routine vaccines. They go to public places to try and get the children up to date. We have measles now. Several countries have outbreak of measles. That's the next campaign that we need to focus on. But shortage of nursing personnel and medical personnel is worldwide. Countries have to go the extra mile to ensure that these basic public health interventions are done.
I wanted to continue this conversation. We were talking about us as citizens being responsible to ensure that it stays at zero. As a new mom, right, if I just found out I'm pregnant, what would be the steps that I would take? Perhaps I'm not HIV, I'm not syphilis, I don't have syphilis, but I want to undergo an entire treatment, but an entire screening and an entire procedure and process to ensure that my baby's health is up to par. What do I need to do?
We highly recommend every woman, once she missed 2 periods and she considers that she may be pregnant, or even before, if she considers that she's pregnant, to seek medical care. A pregnancy test will be done, and upon the diagnosis of the pregnancy, then she will be offered a battery of tests, including HIV and syphilis. This is now a routine test that is done, and precisely to prevent the transmission to the child. In other words, no child should born HIV positive or affected by syphilis if the mom gets screened early, diagnosed early, and adhere to the treatment. So it's one of the responsibility of being a parent, no? We take care of the pregnancy, we have a safe delivery, and we take care of ourselves, the mom and the baby, during the postnatal period, the first 42 days of life. And thereafter, just follow the recommendations from the medical and nursing personnel.
Dr. Bear, allow me to depart from the mother to child aspect of transmission of syphilis momentarily, just to get your take on the issue of syphilis on a whole, because I don't know that we talk about it as much as we talk about any other sexually transmitted diseases. Where are we as a country in terms of dealing with this particular issue?
Well, the syphilis is usually done, the testing is done on demand. Not only in Belize, but many countries, there have been an increase of sexually transmitted infections. And for example, in our country report, we presented data for 4 years, 2019 up to 2022. And our rate at the end of that period was 0.17 cases of congenital syphilis per 100,000 live births. But we are using a surveillance definition. So we had a total of 4 kids that were positive, but 4 kids that we rule out as congenital syphilis. They did not have no signs and symptoms, and they did not even tested for a positive for syphilis. But why do we call them congenital syphilis? Because for whatever reason, the mom was diagnosed during pregnancy, and the criteria is that she needs to get treated before, at least 30 days before delivery, before that baby born. So in a few cases, we did not meet that criteria. So we end up with a rate of 0.17 per 1,000 live births. And the target is less than 0.5. So we were far away from way below the target. But it just shows, that we need to push the system a bit more. And in case of HIV, we would be much more successful if we were to work, and we have this 4 prongs for elimination of the mother-to-child transmission of HIV. The first one is reducing the number of persons, in this case women, that are HIV positive. The second prong is, okay, she's positive now, so let's reduce the number of pregnancies that are unwanted or unplanned among women who are HIV positive. If the woman gets positive, then offer her the full range of services: screening, diagnosis, treatment, and follow-up. And then, well, after delivery, ensure that they continue receiving services.
So this is a testament really to the way that we have been handling the 2 viruses that are in country. And I guess it's just a follow-up from Asani's question as to, do we have any numbers or percentages as to where we are in terms of reducing HIV in this country?
We are not doing too bad as a country. I think we are below the 2% transmission rate countrywide, for all ages. And for pregnant women, way below the 2% also. Because the validation process for elimination, what they really look at is failure of the health system. So if we have a positive case, then they would dissect that case. And if there is a evidence that the system went beyond and extra miles to ensure that this baby was negative, but the baby at the end is positive, then those cases are waived. Because, for example, if we receive a woman, no prenatal care, show up to the hospital, because we do routine testing before delivery, she turned out to be positive for the first time. So, no prenatal care, no diagnosis, no access to treatment. There is no way the system should be responsible for that case. Right. It's an effort from the community, from the patients, and the health system. But when pieces like this are missing, because women have a choice. I mean, if they don't like the services the ministry provides, the government provides, they have the private sector. Yeah. And if they don't like services in private sector, they have the NGO. So there are options.
Agreed.
But when the prenatal care is absent, I would say by choice, then there is no way the program could have helped preventing that transmission to the baby. Although the science, you can prevent it 100%, but you have to come early, you have to receive treatment, you have to adhere to the treatment.
Dr. Bear, as we wrap up our segment this morning, final words as to the ministry's movement forward with this particular program.
Yes, we were certified on the 1st of September 2023, although the ceremony was delayed up to May 7. It's a huge achievement for the country, and we urge pregnant women, as soon as they consider that they may be pregnant, to access services, prenatal care. It could be at the government facilities, private sector, or NGO, and receive the services should in case they would turn out to be positive. And the ministry, we collaborate with private sector, and if needed, if we need to go to your home 10 times to help you, we will do it. We have been doing that, and we will continue doing it.
Thank you so much, Doc, for zooming by and talking to us about this amazing achievement and milestone for Belize. Of course, we'll be continuing to be updated with the program and other programs within the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Ms. Martinez.
All right, with that, we're going to take another quick break. And when we come back, our friends from Patlight are here, and they're here to talk to us about their upcoming Teachers Conference. Don't go away.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price but stay for the service.
What if I told you that your singing talent can earn you $10,000? And what if I told you that you can stop singing in the shower and sing live on one of the biggest stages in Belize?
Let's go! I'm gonna love you forever.
Still not sold? Well, what if I told you with all that's offered, you can attract fans and supporters from all over the country? So, are you ready to be part of the most exciting singing competition in Belize? It's time for KTV The Remix, Season 6. Auditions will take place on Saturday, June 1st and Sunday, June 2nd. So mark your calendars and come show us how good you are. This is your chance to make it big and win big. KTV The Remix, Season 6. It's hot, it's live, and it's only on 5.
This plan, I can't leave this plan. Smart Belize!
Hey there, smart thinkers. We're turbocharging your mobile experience with Smart's powered up postpaid plans. Imagine a world where your data speeds flows faster than ever. Well, guess what? We've cranked up the dial and unleashed the postpaid power of Smart's lightning-fast LTE data on all our postpaid plans. That's right, no speed bumps, more data. It's like having a limitless highway of data speed at your fingertips. Whether you're a Lone Ranger with an individual plan or a squad rolling with a group plan, everyone gets to surf, stream, and share at enhanced, full, high-quality speed. Switch to Smart's powered-up postpaid plans today and ride the wave of postpaid power. Visit any Smart showroom or smart-bz.com for details and make your mobile experience smarter and faster. Smart, bringing people together.
I know I can't leave this plan. I can't leave this plan.
unwrap the joy of crystal clear picture and sound from Iowa, the brand that offers you affordability and exceptional quality. Iowa has a wide range of exceptional products to choose from, such as TVs, speakers, headphones, home appliances, and much more at affordable prices that won't break the bank. Enhance your audio-visual entertainment experience with Iowa, and for your convenience, parts are readily available in country for hassle-free maintenance. You can find Iowa products at your local electronics store countrywide. Choose Iowa, the best in home entertainment and household appliances.
Summer is almost here, and we're gearing up for the exciting time of the year where kids from all over the country come together and showcase their talent on one stage. The Open Your Eyes stage. Yes, that's right. Summerfest is back. Every talent is allowed to be part of this year's Summerfest. Join us on June 1st at Channel 5 to audition for this year's show. Call or WhatsApp 670-6068 and I'll see you on stage.
Welcome back. Our second conversation this morning is all about an upcoming teachers conference. We have been joined on set by the director of the teacher training program at Pathlight, none other than Consuelo Godfrey. Good morning, Consuelo.
Morning.
And she is joined by a trainer, Miss Miriam Paz. Good morning, Miriam.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
So this training is an annual activity that Pathlight undertakes. Let's begin by talking about what is included in the training and perhaps what is different this year from previous years in terms of getting teachers to participate in this initiative.
Well, yes, thanks Isani and Miss
April.
Miss April for having us on this morning. Pathlight is no stranger to Open Your Eyes. It's, as you know, Pathlight is an NGO, non-profit. We've been in Belize for almost 20 years. And teacher training program is one of the 3 programs that we have at the organization.
Yeah.
We have a sponsorship program and a PATH program. The teacher training program is actually the main program that hosts the conference. So this year, it's actually the first year we're doing it face-to-face again since the pandemic. Last time we did it face-to-face was in 2019, and teachers had attended. We had almost 300 teachers attend the conference. It was happening in 3 districts. So this year is actually almost like a relaunch of the conference. Our theme for this year is transforming teaching, bridging pedagogy with innovation. And of course that stems from all the wonderful work that the Ministry of Education has been doing in terms of STEM and competency-based education. Ms. Miriam will speak a little bit more about her work that she's been doing with some of that in schools, but she's one of our lead trainers in our sessions for the primary, because we do cater to high school, primary, and early childhood.
Yeah.
And each of them have their own themes that the conference is going to be covering. The conference will take place July 1st and 2nd in Belize City at St. Catherine's Academy, and 4th and 5th in Orange Walk Town at La Immaculada RC Primary. So just a little bit of introduction there to what we want to do. But, yes.
I know that for teachers, you have to constantly be learning so that you can teach. There is always a change in a system. There's always a change in a subject. How do you gauge outcome from these conferences after you've done everything, all the work, and the teachers go into the classroom? How do you gauge success in these outcomes?
Well, for Pathlight, it's twofold. It's delivery of training, ensuring that we give quality training and professional development to teachers. And secondly, it's monitoring the impact. And we're a small team at Pathlight. We are an NGO nonprofit, so we don't always have all the resources to visit all the schools we've trained. So what we've been planning to do this year, a little bit different than we've done in other years, is we're going to be creating a monitoring and impact schedule where we're going to be going into schools over the academic year, and we're going to be monitoring and evaluating the impact of the training that we've had. Collecting data in terms of, has it increased student achievement? Does it do anything to student retention rates? How is it with dropout rates? How is it with teacher satisfaction and motivation? So those are some of the things you can't immediately see from a training, but if you actually pay attention, you go in, you support the teachers, it does help. And Miriam here is someone that actually does that. So I will pass the floor over to her so she could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's what we do. With the Ministry of Education, we have a support group right now, and I lead the support group. We have an IRO, itinerant resource officer, in each district. And each officer visits schools, provides support, because we're currently implementing the competency-based curriculum. This is the first year of full implementation.
Yeah.
So we have an IRO that visits schools. They are the ones there making sure that, okay, we go into the classroom, we observe whether teachers are doing the right methodologies, the teaching strategies that we need to align with the competency-based curriculum. With Spotlight right now, we're going to be doing collaboration, grouping techniques, which is very important, because one of our macro competencies is collaboration. And if you guys know, as adults, it's hard for us to work in groups because we haven't been taught the different strategies as how to work with each other. We see it in the tertiary level, we see it in high school, we see it in primary school. So teachers need to learn those strategies so that they can be able to have students work successfully in groups. And it's not a matter, back in the days, I've been teaching for 18 years, and whenever we would have grouping in the classroom, you just step in and you say, okay guys, we're gonna form groups of 3 or groups of 4, but you have to be strategic of how you're gonna group your students.
Yeah.
Will it be according to their abilities? Will it be according to interests? Personalities, because whenever our students work in groups, you see a lot of personality clashes. Or I want to do this and I want to do that. So teachers need to understand that there are specific roles that you need to assign to students for them to work successfully in groups. So that is one of our main topics, grouping techniques.
Can I interject,
Sure.
Miriam? Only to share with you what has been my past experience working as a student in a group. Now, it has nothing to do with my professional life as a team player, right? But certain things affect or impact the way you look at, working collaboratively going forward. So I could recall as a child in primary school and as a young adult, my teenage years in high school, we were placed in groups, right? The teacher would say, okay, let's say groups of 5. We don't know what determined the composition of the group. They just chose 5 of us, put us together. Normally what happens is you have one person who's a team leader, the group leader, and then you also have one person on the other end who absolutely does nothing or does the bare minimum and ends up riding the wave, riding the wave of the team leader and gets the same grade as everybody else who has earned their pound, so to speak. And that leaves a sort of a negative impression on anyone who has worked hard to get that or earn that grade.
Right now you have students, you have tertiary level students saying, I hate group work. I hate working with others, because the first thing that happens, either I'm the one doing all the work, and then this person that did nothing gets your A with you, although they did not do anything, or you have persons that I am the one that's going to do everything. You guys are just going to follow. I am going to present. So you have those difficulties, challenges that you see. So we need to show teachers, we need to train our teachers as to these are the strategies that you guys need to implement in the classroom for grouping to be a successful outcome. And these challenges, I have a 19-year-old attending junior college that comes home and complains about group work all the time. We see it in high schools. We see parents complaining whenever we visit schools and like, Miss, but what happens when my child did their role in the group, but because this one person did not do something, everybody gets a B or a C. So we need to teach those techniques, the grading techniques, how to deal with the challenges, how to group your students strategically, and how to monitor and give specific roles as to you are going to be doing this, and you have a good outcome.
What I used to do is say, okay, you guys are in a group, but I'm grading you individually. And it used to either make or break the success of a group. But it showed them, and they would ask me like, how would you know, because this is college, right? How would you know, miss, that because now I'm here assigning you tasks and all of you have to be able to complete the task in order for you to give a full-fledged presentation.
Right.
So if you're missing this, then I know you didn't do your part.
And
right?
the primary level at Miriam will be be one of our facilitators, speaks to allowing teachers to assess and be able to effectively manage those teams, manage those groups. That's one of the CBE practices. For the high school, we're looking at 21st century professionalism in the workplace and strategies and skills to build those macro competencies that Miriam spoke of. For early childhood, we're looking at the play-based beginnings, because the early childhood curriculum right now is focused on play and structuring play in the early years. The conference is ideal for teachers because it's the first week of their holiday. We know that. We've had very good turnout in the past for our conference, both online and face-to-face. But in addition to that, what I really like about what this year is that we have professionals locally, and we also have professionals working with us from the US that will be a part of what we're going to be doing in terms of the delivery and in terms of what we want to see with teachers. The cost is really reasonable. Teachers will pay $30, $15 a day, which we think for professional development that is really reasonable. And they can pay online. They can pay at any one of our centers in Belize City, in Belmopan, in Orange Walk Town. That's where Miriam's from. They could pay cash or they could do an online payment. And of course, teachers we have an early bird special out right now until the 14th of June, which is $30. But if you decide to wait until last minute, then you'll have to pay $40 on the day of the conference. We are planning to give a lot of prizes away at the conference, nice kits and supplies to teachers, and they always look forward to those things.
When you talk about teachers and the education system, there's always this talk about continuous professional development, right? CPD and earning CPD hours and what have you. Does this fall within that? So they attend for 2 days or however many days the program is set for. Do they get credit for that?
Yes, they will be getting, we have a really good relationship with the Ministry of Education. Pathlight is a social partner with them, and so when we send in our paperwork to get it accredited, we've never been denied that. So it will be CPD accredited. One of the things I'll have Miriam speak a little bit. She's been a teacher that has attended our conference, and she's now one of our facilitators. So that's like almost like a 360 of how the training has impacted our teachers in Belize. But the thing with this conference, and it goes back to your question, Isani, that you mentioned about what makes it different this year. What makes it different this year is that, one, it's face-to-face. So a lot of teachers are happy about that. It's going to be in two really central locations, Orange Walk and Belize City. But the training itself, the way that we're designing it this year, it's a lot more interaction and teachers testing their own knowledge and their own practices that they bring to the conference and leverage that against a successful outcome at the end of the day. And so those are things we're going to be implementing in this year's conference.
How do these trainings help, or I guess facilitate the behavioral social changes of teachers and children? So we just had COVID, we had to do a completely 180 on how we do training, how we do teaching, all of that. Now we're back in the classroom. So how have these two different dynamics changed over the past few years with your training?
You know, as an educator, before the pandemic, I've always attended Pathlight trainings. I've been teaching for 18 years. And they have like 20 plus years in Belize. So I started from I became a teacher. And I like the interactive activities that they have in face-to-face sessions and online, because they did provide online training as well during the pandemic, right? And I think when you leave from a Pathlight training session, you leave with resources to begin with, which is the best part for me as an educator. You leave with the resources, but you leave with that energy because you learn so many new strategies that you are so happy to go back and implement it in the classroom. So you leave not only with your gifts or tokens, but you leave with knowledge, and we leave with that energy. Like, these are the things that I will be trying with my students this coming school year, because it's during the summer, then you start September. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that whenever we have the sessions with Pathlight, you have it's not only the CPD hours, and I know that a lot of teachers would say, I'm going to go because I want my CPD hours, but for me it's more of a professional development because you get to build on your knowledge. And that is what we want to look at, because knowledge is continuous. Like you rightfully mentioned it earlier, things change, and some educators would like to say, you know what, change for me means more work. And I don't want to do more work. And then they connect all the other negative things as to why they believe that they shouldn't be attending these sessions during their holiday. But if you think about your growth, your personal growth, knowledge, your skills that you are able to develop. Right now we're talking about competencies, being a competent educator. We want to develop, we want to see competent students in our classroom. Our competency means you have your knowledge, your skills, and your attitudes. They combine everything together and you're able to apply it in the real world. That is the same thing that we want to see with teachers. We want to have competent teachers in the classroom, that you are ready and prepared to deliver this competency-based curriculum in your classroom. So it's about building on your knowledge. The CPD hours are very important because you need it to update your license, your teaching license, right? But if you think about your growth, your personal growth, I think that is the way how you can mentally prepare yourself and be like, you know what, it's something that I'm going to gain for myself.
What I look at is the evolution of teaching and the delivery of lessons that have gone from a traditional point of view to where we are, where we're implementing modern technology and techniques and what have you. I could remember back in the days when you had a blackboard and you have your notebook, and you take notes, right? You go up on the blackboard and you do your math or whatever, your writing or whatever. So it's a very traditional form. Now we're implementing all forms of modern technology and methods and what have you. How do you now prepare teachers to make that shift? Because it has to be a mindset first that you're implementing digital technology and so forth.
So the team, sorry, the mindset area, because when we think about challenges, when I have to give my recommendations based on the observations and the data that we collect when we visit schools, you would believe that I would say one of our biggest challenges are resources. Training, that is a challenge, you know, because we do need more training, we do need more resources, but the biggest challenge is your mindset. Because as I said, teachers are saying, you want more from me, but what am I getting in return? But we need to understand that back in the days, traditional teaching, we did not have all the things that we have to compete against, technology, devices. We have a whole different group of students
I would want
now.
to say too that it bridges perfectly with our theme this year of our conference, which is it's transforming teaching. Now, how would we do that? So bridging the pedagogy, which is a lot of what teachers have been used to in their teacher training program at Belize Teachers College, having a basic associate's degree in terms of primary ed or in terms of secondary education. There's some basic things that they learn. But in order to bridge that with innovation, when we say modern education, we're not only talking about technology infusion, we're also talking about the use of technology. And when we say use of technology, we're also talking about innovatively transforming the traditional methods with new ways of teaching. For example, collaborative group work. As opposed to the teacher being the one doing all the talking, doing all the instruction, you have more students acquiring their own skills, forging that path for learning, but also making some decisions about how they learn and what they want to learn. Because you all know it, every single kid, most children, is born with like a little digital chip now in their brain. And so being what we call them phygital, right? They're physical and digital, so phygital. And so they have to have a digital equivalent to everything they're learning. And if the teacher isn't able to bridge that for them, then learning becomes demotivated, they become disinterested, right?
But how do you balance that? And I ask that because it's not even just in education, the sole dependency on a device is increasing. And time, right, but I like everything you're saying, and I'm going to ask a question about critical thinking in just a bit, but I wanted to ask that because one of the biggest adversaries I think is happening right now is AI, and that use of like ChatGPT and all of these different forms where it can literally write your assignment for you, and teachers have to now combat how do I know if it's from my student, and how do I, and they have to form these different ways of knowing.
That because if you attend sessions like these that we're going to be having in July, there are ways how you can find out if your student is using ChatGPT, because just like how you have AI platforms created to assist, I don't see ChatGPT as a challenge. I love ChatGPT to help my students because they can guide themselves. And you have other AI platforms that help you to see if you're, you detect ChatGPT generated. I don't know if I can mention this right now, but we have Optimist Club 501 Belize has an essay competition, right? And each year students are asked to write on a theme. No, I am the chair. It's an example. I am the chair of the essay competition. I am an educator, so I have access to these AI platforms because I love to read and I love to research. So I know the students that submitted that ChatGPT generated essay.
But it's something it's to your question, April, which is right.
And it goes back to training. We need to train our teachers.
The platform is any platform, just like with the onset of the internet in the early 1990s, with the onset of use of tablets and cell phones in the classroom. Teachers have to know how to strike a balance. That is not something that they're born with. You actually have to show them techniques and strategies to be able to determine when technology is good and when it's not useful. And I know we're almost at the end of our time, so I just want to throw in. I just want to throw in the logistics of our conference, which is July 1st to the 4th to the 5th. SCA on the 1st and 2nd of July. We're going to be at La Immaculata RC School on the 4th and the 5th of July. This year we have 3 levels that we're going to be supporting. Miss Miriam will be supporting our primary level. I'll be working with the early childhood level, and we have Miss Lisa Carballo, Miss Nidra Mahmood, who are teacher trainers working with the other levels. I really would like to say a big thank you to Pathlight for allowing us to do this conference, our CEO, Miss Luwani Caetano, for supporting us, Pathlight International, and of course the Ministry of Education and all the schools that will be participating, but especially thank you to our facilitators like Miss Paz, who has agreed to work with us this year. I mean, it's a little bit more on her plate. She's doing a lot. But with all our trainers that we're working with this year, I really want to say a big thank you. And to every teacher that's going to be out there supporting us, thank you so much. Remember, the early bird special ends June 14th. So you want to capture that as soon as possible. But yes.
Final question, how do they register and how do they pay?
Okay, so online, we have our networks. Our information is on our Facebook page, Pathlight T2T. And we also have our WhatsApp networks as well, Instagram. And so our information is posted around our social media, but you could actually just go to the office in Belize City on Coney Drive, Cards Plaza in Belmopan, and Trinidad Street in Orange Walk Town to make a cash payment if you'd like, or it's just an online transfer for us. If you want more information, I am at 610-6244, and most teachers know Pathlight, they know how to reach us. So if anyone's interested, please reach out to us, and we will provide all the information with the registration and so forth. So, wonderful. Yes, it will be on the TLI. All trainings are on the Teacher Learning Institute.
So wonderful. All teachers are signed up to that, the Teaching Learning platform.
Wonderful, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I have so much questions, but I'll ask it during the break. But we are going to take a break now, and when we come back, we're having the conversation about border personality disorder with Dr. Martinez. So you don't want to miss that conversation. We'll be right back.
This plan, I can't leave this plan. Smart Belize!
Hey there, smart thinkers. We're turbocharging your mobile experience with Smart's powered up postpaid plans. Imagine a world where your data speeds flows faster than ever. Well, guess what? We've cranked up the dial and unleashed the postpaid power of Smart's lightning fast LTE data on all our postpaid plans. That's right, no speed bumps, more data. It's like having a limitless highway of data speed at your fingertips. Whether you're a lone ranger with an individual plan or a squad rolling with a group plan, everyone gets to surf, stream, and share at enhanced, full, high-quality speed. Switch to Smart's powered-up postpaid plans today and ride the wave of postpaid power. Visit any smart showroom or smart-bz.com for details and make your mobile experience smarter and faster. Smart, bringing people together.
I know I can't let this plan. I can't let this plan.
Hey Mike, do you have Atlantic Insurance phone number?
What? You don't need that. They have an app. No.
Sure.
With the Atlantic Insurance mobile app, you can request a quote, access your policy information, receive timely notifications of when a policy is about to expire, file a claim and upload pictures, and even view all our office locations, obtain direction, opening hours, and place a call to any of our offices.
That game changer. Correct. Hello.
Download the free AIC mobile app today and get instant access to everything you need. Available in the Apple Store and Google Play. For customer support, please call 613-8518 or email mobile support at aicbelize.com.
Yes. Good morning.
Atlantic Insurance, insuring
Are
you
back?
from life's unexpected.
All right, we're doing well. It's a hot day.
Hi, my name is Leah Mangar, and I am currently the Administrative Assistant at Yasche Conservation Trust.
20-minute conversation about
I received the Social
borderline
Security Board
personality
Scholarship in
disorder.
the year of 2021. After I was told that I was a successful recipient of this scholarship, I was very grateful. This scholarship has assisted me in various ways. Firstly, it relieved me of financial constraints. So that was the main obstacle that was keeping me back. But receiving this scholarship allowed me to gain the skills and the knowledge that I needed to attain the job that I currently have. I would just encourage you all to apply to the scholarship, and the process is very, very easy. You will find a link and it will direct you to everything that you need in order to submit your application. And once you submit it, pray and just hope for the best, because you just will never know if you can get it.
What if I told you that your singing talent can earn you $10,000? And what if I told you that you can stop singing in the shower and sing live on one of the biggest stages in Belize?
Let's go! I'm gonna love you forever.
Still not sold? Well, what if I told you with all that's offered, you can attract fans and supporters from all over the country? So, are you ready to be part of the most exciting singing competition in Belize? It's time for KTV The Remix, Season 6. Auditions will take place on Saturday, June 1st and Sunday, June 2nd. So mark your calendars and come show us how good you are. This is your chance to make it big and win big. KTV The Remix, Season 6. It's hot, it's live, and it's only on 5.
Hi, my name is Lincoln Fowers and I work at UMAL. 100% I will recommend Belize Bank mobile banking to everyone because it saves time, money, and gas price, because gas price is high right now. Belize Bank mobile banking just make life easier.
We have psychiatrist Dr. Anel Martinez here to talk to us about border personality disorder. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. So it is the month of May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. And we've been having this conversation, Isani, about mental health and so forth, and different ways that we can detect persons and help persons with particular disorders. Today we're talking about borderline personality disorder. Doc, can you help me with a definition, if you will, about this disorder?
So borderline personality disorder is in a group of other personality disorder which would fall under cluster B. And it is characterized by a pervasive sense of instability and impulsivity. And when we talk about instability, we're looking at relationships, emotions, behavior, and self-image. I think the self-image part is one of the aspects which stand out the most, because they seem to be these people who are not certain of who they are, and they turn into this kind of chameleon where they take on the persona of whatever they believe the environment requires of them. And impulsivity in terms of very impulsive behavior as it relates to sex and promiscuity, substance abuse, spending. And it's also very common where we see this having a comorbidity with eating disorders. And so it's a very complex disorder, and the way how borderline even came about is in early days of psychoanalysis, where the patients who were in therapy weren't improving at all. And what the psychoanalysis would see is that they're kind of on the borderline of neurosis or psychosis. Neurosis being anything that's affective, depression, anxiety, and psychosis being losing touch with reality. And so they weren't on either end of those spectrum, and so that's how the term borderline came about.
The first time I heard about this disorder, I was watching a TV show called My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. And I know that it was one of these nuances. All of the personality traits that you have describing this one individual had. And she was under the clear impression she was taking antidepressants because this is what her therapist had recommended to her. She was diagnosed as anxiety and depressed, with anxiety, and depression. And so how do we detect this type of disorder? Because clearly it can be misdiagnosed if you don't catch it properly.
Agreed. And it's interesting how you came across the term borderline. And for short, we also call it BPD, which is going to be easier for me to use going forward.
Yeah.
There's such a huge misconception or stigmatization of what BPD is because of how they're painted. I think even the title of the show that you were watching, Ex-Girlfriend, Crazy Ex.
Yeah.
This image of someone who will go slash your tires, key up your car, mash up your windshield, and then in the same breath also telling you how much they love you and you can't be out of their life, they can't live without you, and you're the reason for living, right? And I guess we'll go back to the definition where it says that emotional instability, where they experience emotions, whether positive or negative, in such an intense way, kind of if I lose somebody and I do not have BPD, I might go through some level of grief. And I'm not talking about loss to death. I mean, somebody walks out my life, whether that's a friendship, I'm cutting off ties, or I was cut off by a family member, or somebody in a relationship. For me, it'll hurt, but it's not going to affect my integrity as a person. You know, I'm able to separate myself from the other, and I will recognize that, okay, well, I lost that person. It doesn't mean that I'm a crappy person, or because that person is out of my life that I'm unlovable. However, the thought of a person with BPD is that because they've been abandoned, it means nobody loves them. And that is true to them regardless of how many other people are in their lives who might still be very supportive and very loving towards them, right? In psychiatry, psychology, we use the DSM, and I think the latest version of the DSM is the DSM-5. Within the DSM, to be able to diagnose and separate from what would be anxiety, depression, eating disorders, and whatever other comorbidity might exist with borderline personality disorder, they have 9 specific criteria. they try not to make it categorical and look at the person in a more holistic way. So we're looking at relationships, emotion, behavior, identity, right? And if you'd like, I could go over those 9 criterias that we would have to go through to be able to diagnose somebody. There's a lot of misdiagnosis because of how many other symptoms present within the context of this one disorder.
It's interesting because when we talk about borderline personality disorder and the overall issue of mental health, right? Oftentimes we encounter persons who perhaps exhibit these very symptoms and we don't necessarily know what it is or how to treat with it in terms of our interactions with these individuals. In your profession as someone who's trained to be able to readily identify these symptoms, if I could use that description, what do you look for specifically, Doc?
All right, so majority of people who come into treatment for BPD don't come in telling you, I have BPD, or they even suspect they have BPD. A lot of them come in first time for anxiety. Again, going back to that emotional distress that they experience and how much more intensely they experience emotions than the average person does, right? So they would come in for severe anxiety, severe depressive symptoms, eating disorders, drug or substance abuse disorders. And what we would see in these patients is that there is a fear of abandonment. And this could be fear of perceived fear of abandonment, or it could be real or perceived abandonment in the sense that, what if I say something wrong and they don't think I'm interested? What if I don't show up because I'm extremely tired and they stop talking to me? You know? And so everything they do really is geared to making sure that they will maintain the affection of whichever person they feel is important in their lives. And a lot of what they do or how they behave end up causing that same abandonment that they were trying to avoid in the first place. Why? Because they're so intense. If I feel that you not saying I love you at the end of our phone conversation means that you no longer love me, I'm not going to be content. So you hang up and I'm there thinking, oh my goodness, this person is so over me. I don't know what my life is going to look like. I don't know what's going to happen to me next. I don't think anybody else is going to love me. So what do? I blow up your phone. We just had a conversation, so you don't pick up. Or maybe you walked away because you're busy. But I'm there texting. You're not reading my text. You're not responding in 2 seconds. So I'm calling. And if you don't pick up, then anger, rage comes up. Shame comes up for them a lot. So then they start treating that person as if though that person has actually abandoned them. Now, if on the other end, you don't quite understand what's going on, you will also want to defend yourself. And when you defend yourself or you start to pull away because it's just too intense for you, then that person is abandoned indeed, right? And we always see these people who tend to be manipulative in our eyes. This is external, right? They lie a lot over the simplest of things. And mostly it's because you're trying to avoid the consequence of being abandoned. And other things would be that they have such inappropriate response to emotional situation because of how low their tolerance is for distress. Another thing that we see a lot is also self-harm behavior, self-injurious behaviors, or a lot of attempted suicide. Again, because of the intensity of their sadness, their desperation. They tend to want to check out a lot. And so you might have this depressed person who started with early life depression, preteen or early adulthood, several suicide attempts. And you will notice too that the suicide attempts are going to be kind of on the mild side. They don't do anything too fatal. Or you notice that when the self-injurious behaviors happen, it'll be very superficial cuts or burns
Yeah.
or other things like that. So these are the key things that we look for beyond the anxiety, beyond the depression.
Doc, what happens, because you are a psychiatrist, so you are trained to diagnose and treat. And so I'm very curious to know what happens in that person's brain for these different things to be occurring, and then how do you in your profession treat this type of disorder?
Very well. So neurobiologically, we have noticed that there are several chemical and structural changes that are also shown within the persons with BPD. Curious thing about how it comes up, really and truly, they're only theories, and we use the nature and nurture theory of how this comes to be. There is a high incidence of hereditary component in BPD, and also a big part of it is the environment. Because if you have parents who also have BPD, then there will not be a emotionally nurturing environment for you to grow up in. And that increases your risk factor. What we have seen biologically is changes in brain structures like the amygdala, our fear center. The fear center in BPD patients is actually smaller, which means it is dysregulated because it has not developed adequately as it would in a normal person. We notice that their stress response system is also hyperactive. So very minimal cues will trigger a very intense fear response in them. Among other more complicated changes that you see, in the chemical aspect, we will see that there is also huge imbalance in their serotonin levels, dopamine levels, which are your neurotransmitters. Your neurotransmitters help your brain to communicate, process, and then respond to information from the external world. So as I said, it's very complex. And even though a lot of people might say, okay, it's a personality disorder, you want to be like that because that's your personality. Not necessarily. There is so many underlying problems or challenges, including trauma, early childhood trauma, which could then influence how someone develops borderline personality disorder, which also cannot be diagnosed in a person if they are less than 18 years of age. Because in early adolescence, your personality is still forming, it's not consolidated. So it wouldn't be fair for us to put the diagnosis on someone who is less than 18 years old.
Wow.
That's interesting.
We're here, we have these different conversations often, and I think that it kind of makes you think now about certain situations that you've been, certain personalities, no pun intended, that you've encountered where, as somebody in society, where this could be your friend. How can I help? What do I do?
So, even though most psychiatrists might treat BPD from a pharmacological aspect, because there are also neurochemical and changes within it, medication helps. It goes a long way to try to reduce the intensity of the emotional experience and the cognitive symptoms to the point where someone can easily relate to the reality or engage with their environment in a way where therapy, which is the treatment of excellence, can work for that person. Because if I'm still in a fearful situation, I'm still highly anxious, I'm still severely depressed, it's not going to be easy for me to sit in therapy for an hour, take my coping skills, take my homework to be able to do it in between therapy sessions. And by excellence, the therapy that has been used in patients with BPD is DBT, which is dialectical behavior therapy. Dialectical behavior therapy is a combination of what we know as cognitive behavioral therapy and Zen Buddhism. So there's a lot of meditative practice in this type of treatment. And the person who actually came up with DBT treatment was a patient herself. She was diagnosed with BPD in early adulthood, and she was in hospital receiving treatment for up to 2 years prior to being discharged. So this is how severe the symptoms can be. And it's not to make any less of other psychiatric diagnoses, but this is very, I guess the prevalence of BPD is higher than we want to think.
Yeah.
The good part about it is it has very good prognosis if we are able to access proper treatment for BPD. The issue or the boundary is the cost of treatment.
Yeah, that's always
Because people who do DBT, for it to be effective as it was planned to be, they have to do some level of intense treatment for at least the first month. What would this look like? A day hospital. Where you go to the hospital all day, you're doing group therapy, individual therapy, and then you go home and you sleep and you come back again in the morning. And then you have your individual sessions at least twice weekly for the initial part of it. And it could mean therapy for the rest of your life because you will encounter different situations. And in each new situation, you have to develop new coping skills. So again, very complex, and it's not a one-person job. It's really important to have a great support system. If you approach a person and tell them they have DBT and they have BPD and they have to go into therapy, it's not likely that they will want to. So what is best for family members, loved ones, and friends to do? Look at the symptom that is most bothersome for them. If that is the depression, if that is the anxiety, if that is difficulty with sleep, but never go to the social aspect where it's like, you know what, none of your relationships work out because you're all over the place. Nobody's going to listen to you. They're going to feel more judged and they're going to feel like you're abandoning them. So go more to appeal to the symptoms that's bothersome for them and encourage them to seek help.
Wow.
But therapy.
Got it.
Doc, as we are wrapping up our segment, I would like for you to just briefly talk about Psyche and the services that you are offering currently.
Very well. So Psyche Mental Health Services is a private practice located in Belmopan. We're on number 12 McFadden Street. And what we offer is mostly psychiatric services and psychotherapy, medication management. So we diagnose and treat mental illness at different severity and different level of functioning of person.
Thank you so much, Doc, for zooming by. This was a very interesting conversation. It kind of makes you think, yes, very informative. It makes you think about how different personalities are shaped within our society, especially in Belize, where it's still taboo. I don't know why. It's still taboo to talk about mental health. So thank you so much for dropping by, Doc. We hope that you come back very soon.
Thank you so much for having me. You guys have a good day.
All right, we are about to wrap things up by taking our final break. We'll be right back.
My name is Leomar Langzert and I'm a teacher and I bank with Belize Bank Independence Branch. What I enjoy is the safety features that the app offers. I have a sense of not having to worry or be concerned about somebody finding my password and username to sign in the application because of the use of the one-time password. And another feature that I love, that I use the most, is how the app synchronizes with my fingerprint on my device. I enjoy the rapid and easy, seamless process to apply for loans through the Belize Bank, and I don't have to be having too much back and forth to visit or take time to visit the bank. They also start to offer the online applications through the app for loan applications, which I believe is very neat. I would definitely recommend Belize Bank to other teachers because one of all the features and advantages that the app offer, with these online that Belize Bank offer, there's basically everything that you can do in the palm of your hand. So I would definitely recommend the bank to other teachers.
The Ministry of Blue Economy and Disaster Risk Management, in partnership with the National Adaptation Plan Global Network Secretariat, will be hosting the second Blue Economy Climate Resilience Forum and Fair on June 6th and 7th. This year's theme is linking science and livelihoods towards climate resilience for the coastal zone and fisheries sector of Belize. Come and take part in presentations relating to climate change and national adaptation and mitigation initiatives, the use of scientific knowledge to enhance resilience, and how men and women in our community can positively impact our coastal zone and fisheries sector. On day 1, June 6th, the Blue Economy Forum will provide a platform for NGOs, academia, and private citizens to present your plans, projects, and national initiatives at the Belize Biltmore Plaza from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. On day 2, June 7th, the Blue Economy Fair takes place at the Fisheries Compound on Princess Margaret Drive, where stakeholders such as NGOs, fisherfolk organizations, and MSMEs will showcase their booths. There will also be lots of raffle giveaways. Everyone is invited to the second Blue Economy Climate Resilience Forum and Fair on June 6th and 7th.
What if I told you that your singing talent can earn you $10,000? And what if I told you that you can stop singing in the shower and sing live on one of the biggest stages in Belize?
Let's go! I'm gonna love you forever.
Still not sold? Well, what if I told you with all that's offered, you can attract fans and supporters from all over the country? So, are you ready to be part of the most exciting singing competition in Belize? It's time for KTV The Remix, Season 6. Auditions will take place on Saturday, June 1st and Sunday, June 2nd. So mark your calendars and come show us how good you are. This is your chance to make it big and win big. KTV The Remix, Season 6. It's hot, it's live, and it's only on 5.
This plan, I can't leave this plan. Smart Belize!
Hey there, smart thinkers! We're turbocharging your mobile experience with Smart's powered up postpaid plans. Imagine a world where your data speeds flows faster than ever. Well, guess what? We've cranked up the dial and unleashed the postpaid power of Smart's lightning fast LTE data on all our postpaid plans. That's right, no speed bumps, more data. It's like having a limitless highway of data speed at your fingertips. Whether you're a lone ranger with an individual plan or a squad rolling with a group plan, everyone gets to surf, stream, and share at enhanced, full, high-quality speed. Switch to Smart's powered-up postpaid plans today and ride the wave of postpaid power. Visit any Smart showroom or smart-bz.com for details and make your mobile experience smarter and faster. Smart, bringing people together.
I know I can't leave this plan. I can't leave this plan.
Welcome back. We are wrapping up our Monday morning show. I want to say a big thank you to all of our guests for stopping by, and thank you to our viewers, because without you this would not be possible. And it is May 27th. If it is your birthday today, I want to say a happy birthday to you from all of us here on Open Your Eyes and Channel 5. We hope you have a wonderful day. And if you have a birthday shout out or just a question or a comment, you can drop us a line right here at oye@channel5belize.com. You can also catch our live stream every day on Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ, and check out our highlights on Instagram at OYE Belize. And of course, join us again tomorrow when you open your eyes
to start your morning right.
Be sure to keep your eyes, your minds,
your hearts open.
We'll see you real soon, Belize. Have a wonderful day today. Stay hydrated. It's going to be another hot one. Take care. Goodbye.
Open Your Eyes is brought to you by Smart, bringing people together, and the Belize Bank, our country, your bank.